All right, it's the Super Bowl update. Let's talk about the football games, the conference, excuse me, the conference championships that happened on Sunday. Excellent football games, and there will be a Super Bowl. And unfortunately, it will not have the Ravens in it. Sadness. Watched this game with my son, and I started the game. I said, you know what? I'm rooting for Lamar. Everybody wants to see Lamar overcome the champion of State Farm and the Kansas City Chiefs, whether it be Mahomes or Mahado or Jake from State Farm. This team, this is how I knew we were in trouble. Every commercial break is not Lamar talking about whatever, it's Mahomes selling you something or Andy Reid eating chicken nuggets as his defense apparently beat Lamar and the Ravens. I said in the video before these games, I said if Lamar can avoid the fumbles and the interceptions, he had one of each in the game. There was the sadness of Zay Flowers jumping over and losing control of the ball. Losing control of the ball and having it go out of bounds, not recovered by the other team, should never change possession. That is the problem with that rule. You can't do 99% of the play awesome. Try to cross the edge of the end zone. And if you actually get in, which he wasn't in, that's the thing. Had he crossed over, I hope it would have been ruled a touchdown. But sometimes they knock it out in the end zone and it still doesn't count. It's a horrible rule. It's sad because you lose possession of the ball. It changed this game. And this game, which could have been the Ravens outscoring the Chiefs, but it didn't happen that way because of the Chiefs' defense and forced turnovers and just bad luck all around. It was a rainy day. It lowered the scoring. As you can see, the Chiefs got about to what the prediction is at 17. We had them only getting 2 touchdowns and about a field goal, something like that. I think I said a touchdown and 3 field goals. It was 2 touchdowns and a field goal, right? And they did it in the first half. I made a statement to my son. I said, do you realize that the Chiefs won this game without scoring any points in the second half? And he was like, well, yeah. He's like, yeah, because the Ravens only got 3. And I was like, yeah, they did only get 3. It was 17-7 at half. The weather definitely had some impact, and the rain is something you got to take into account in a game like that. But it's sad, and Baltimore loses. They can't get the offense on that kind of day. It just doesn't go their way. And a good, really great season comes down to magical Mahomes beating you. And it's because he's in every single commercial. It's the only thing I can think of. Well, he's with Troy Polamalu selling dandruff medication or shampoo. Like he's doing everything. All right. Anyway, Chiefs win. Niners do something which, in retrospect, is very predictable, which is the Lions blowing a lead. If one thing Detroit can do, it's not play defense when it matters. That Coach Campbell can chew his gum with his big old jaw as much as he want and go with it on every fourth down. When you should have kicked a field goal, when you're down 27-24 and you have a 40-yard field goal, you take it and you tie the game. There's something I don't know what the odds said about going forward in that situation. I was like, why don't you kick this field goal and make this game tied? There's like 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Like, what are you doing? Well, what you're doing is losing, and the Niners come back from down like 17 points in 5 minutes and blow this game out. I mean, it was really 34-24, and they let them come down and score on the last meaningless drive when they're running the ball when they should just. There were some coaching mistakes here. I'm sorry, Detroit. I feel for you. I was also rooting for you, but the Niners win. So really an amazing weekend of football. Well, what about the Super Bowl? Let's do some things. Let's update the injury report because I have an old injury report in here. I have downloaded it. I'm grabbing it right now, and we're going to paste it in. And we're going to refresh this is our like lineup creator here of who's playing in the game and all the injuries and everything. We refresh this, and now what happens is these scores are going to change from last week, what our projections were. We had the Ravens winning. We had this game. Watch what happens when we do this. It doesn't change that much. So apparently there aren't that many injury changes going into the Super Bowl, it looks like, compared to what it was a week ago. Slight changes, but not much. But what that means is we can now look at the Super Bowl. Let's see what it says. Let's open up everything here. We have San Francisco winning 23-16 with a 4.5 magnifier. Let's up the magnifier to 5. Why? Why are you doing that, Ken? Well, if you look at last week and we go with a magnifier of 5, you see that we actually get the exact points for the Chiefs, and we show the lack of offense by the Ravens, that they put up 20 points less than they should have, as noted by fumble, interception, Zay Flowers fumble. Like there's like 3 big things that affected this game and took points away. So that actually looks pretty good when you understand what happened in this game, and that it was just Lamar couldn't pull it off against the Chiefs defense. And I'd like the algorithm to predict that, but sometimes Lamar has that bad game. He didn't have a lot of bad games the whole year. Now, next in the Niners game, you start to get this a little bit closer. This game, you have to bring this game up to about, a 7 magnifier to get it almost exactly correct. Nope, 6.5. Yep, 6.5 gets you at 34-28 in a 34-31 game where they had that late touchdown and forgot to take a field goal. It really should be 34-27 is what the score of this game actually should have been. They should have made a field goal and then got stopped trying to come down and score a touchdown at the end because the Niners cared, because they would have had to stop them. Anyway, point is that we need to up the magnifier slightly to make last week work better. And I think that that's correct. You're going to have good weather in Las Vegas in a dome. So there's no reason it should reduce scoring. The over-under, which now we can look at the lines just for that game. Now when we refresh, we see that the line is this. So odds makers are slightly favoring San Francisco. When you say Purdy versus Mahomes, what do you think? Is Brock Purdy doing any, ads for Liberty Bibberty? I don't think so. I think it's all Mahomes. So they're there. He's trying to get a 3rd ring? I think he's going for a 3rd ring. I think he's 2 for 3 in Super Bowls, and he wants to go 3 for 4. So what happens in this game? Well, the algorithm straight up says it's a touchdown for the Niners because they're so offensively powered, but we just saw the Chiefs defense do amazing things against the Ravens. You don't have as mobile a quarterback in Brock Purdy. So somehow they managed to stop Lamar. Lamar did run for some yards, but their passing defense was pretty good. Now you got to stop McCaffrey instead. You're trading Lamar for McCaffrey, and then you got to stop Deebo Samuel and Kittle as well. They have a lot of weapons. Excellent Super Bowl. Going to be a good. So Mahomes could do some craziness, of course, and win, which is why the odds makers, everybody understand that. They've seen Mahomes do it, and you can't ever count him out. So what do you do in a game like this? We're all going to sit and we're going to watch next Sunday, a week from Sunday. And I'm sure it can't not be a great game, right? I mean, how can this be a bad game? Even if it's a blowout, no one's going to believe it. I mean, so there's over under is set at 47.5. Of course, people are pushing this up a little bit more because they see a score like 26-19 and they're like, come on, the Chiefs. But the Chiefs, notice, just win a game with 17 points. Although that was bad weather, you're not going to have bad weather. So you would expect some more points here. So personally, I think the Chiefs somehow managed to pull it out again because they're still in every commercial. I know that's a silly reason, but I'm like, aren't all those companies going to drop them and go to Brock Purdy if they lose? The answer is no. The answer is Mahomes has still made it to the Super Bowl. So they're not going to dump him. But, man, he's just the X factor is he finds ways to win games and do exactly what's needed to at the right time. The Niners, while both these teams lost some games this year and the Niners went on a little stretch, it's going to come down to does everybody on the Niners stay healthy? I think what you see in a game like this is the Chiefs defense. We know, what if Deebo Samuel re-aggravates the shoulder or something? or gosh forbid McCaffrey like blows out a knee. I don't want to start predicting stuff because I don't want stuff like that to actually happen. But the point is that if something like that does happen and the weapons start to go away for the Niners, then that's probably how the Chiefs win this game, which means if it goes that route, then it's the Chiefs winning actually sort of a lower scoring game. Like them pulling off something like this. Because it's indoors, it goes up a little bit. The Chiefs win like 23-20. Because they stop a couple touchdowns. When you start pulling some of San Francisco's powerful players, now, I'm predicting that they all don't make it throughout the game. Like that's not something you should predict. But you have nobody's really hurting here. What you can do is we can start we can create a slicer for the player name. And I'll show you how we do this. So grab the name. And then when we're looking at just San Francisco, we get all the guys that are on San Francisco here. And you're like, all right, what if McCaffrey goes down and Sam Darnold? Take Sam Darnold out of there. Should be including his numbers. It'll probably be Purdy that goes down because I just did that. And Deebo Samuel. Say both of them get hurt. I know it's just extreme, but watch what happens to the score. Instead of it being 31-21 or interesting, 23-32. Ooh, let me show you why these scores don't agree. Oh, let me talk about that. This is interesting. This is not the way it normally is. Let me explain this to you. So what I've done, because it's the Super Bowl, is I put both teams away. What's going on here? I want to project pivot. Oh, sorry. Undo. I'll show you what we're doing. We're leaving those guys out, but we're showing every other team as well. Now it'll work. Yep. Look at that. What did I just say? 23-20. Boom. All right. So I'll leave you with this. It's a great game to live bet because there's going to be a lot of fluctuations and both these teams are going to fight. And it's going to go one way or the other. It's going to go Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, Kittle. They start to light up the Chiefs defense because it's good weather and they're just exceptional players. And you end up having a game that looks like this, where they win by more than a touchdown because they're just so offensively powered. And the game goes over probably because the Chiefs still score some points because they're fighting a lot of points from the Niners. Right? Or it goes this way. And this is the way I actually think it's going to go because the Chiefs defense is so strong. The Chiefs defense is going to outperform. There's going to be an injury to a big player or something like that because it's football. It happens all the time. And it's going to limit the Niners offense and the Chiefs are going to hold them off and win by a field goal in a game that goes barely under the 47. Now, my instincts are always wrong. That's one thing that's true. So I think it's going to go this way. So it probably goes the other way. And the Niners win a game like 30-23 or something. So it's up to you. That's what the algorithm says. A couple different scenarios. Because I can't promise you it's going to be right all the time. But I can promise you it can take the information that's available and run simulations with it to give you an idea of what you can expect. I'm never displeased with it when I review results and I look at whether or not it was right or it was wrong and why it was right or why it was wrong. And of course, you don't have the opportunity to watch every single sport. And I would get involved with more than a handful of sports even at a time. When you have basketball, hockey, football, baseball, all these things going on at once, college basketball, that you can't really get a feel for how the algorithm is playing and what it's doing. You can do that with NFL. That's kind of why I've kept doing videos here while I've really dropped all the other videos on other topics, simply because I want to give you something that I've paid some personal attention to and can speak knowledgeably about what the algorithm is doing. So it'll be an enjoyable Super Bowl. I'm rooting for the Chiefs. That's the kiss of death. So if you're betting, you probably want to bet on the Niners. If my terrible instincts mean anything at all. All right. Good luck, everyone. May all your picks be winning and your Super Bowl be enjoyable.